So now we're going to start the discussion about the spaces of the hand. So for this, we're going to draw one diagram. So now this diagram, yes. Now first we draw the metacarpal bone. Now these are the 5 metacarpal bones we have. This is the third metacarpal bone. This is the other metacarpal bones. Okay, we have drawn the metacarpal bones. Now between the metacarpal bones, the interosseous muscle will take origin. So now to this diagram, we're going to add the interosseous muscle. Okay. Now, yes, the interosseous muscle present between the metacarpal bones. Interosseous muscle. Okay. And interosseous muscles, yes, they are covered by some fascia here. Fascia covering the interosseous muscle. See, draw the diagram along with me. Though you have a notes, okay, fine, but still draw this diagram with me. First draw the metacarpal bone and then draw the interosseous muscle. That is our interosseous muscle. Okay. Over. Right. Now this is the lateral side, say. This is the medial side, say. We are assuming this is lateral side and medial side. Now in the lateral side, yes, we have the thenar eminence muscle. So here we have thenar eminence muscle. On the medial side, we have the hypothenar eminence muscle. Now this is our thenar eminence muscle. Thenar eminence muscle. And this is our hypothenar eminence muscle. Hypothenar eminence muscle. Very simple. Okay. Now, in the front side, yes, in the palm, we have the palmar aponeurosis. If you remove the skin, then you will see the palmar aponeurosis. Superficial fascia you will see, and then you will see the palmar aponeurosis. The palmar aponeurosis is nothing but modification of palmaris longus tendon. Very good. The palmaris longus tendon, after reaching the palm, it will give one modification. It will form an aponeurosis that is called palmar aponeurosis. Now this is our palmar aponeurosis. Palmar aponeurosis. Now on the medial side, we have the medial septum here. Medial palmar septum. Similarly, on the lateral side, we have lateral palmar septum. From the third metacarpal bone, you have the intermediate palmar septum. Now this is our intermediate palmar septum. Intermediate palmar septum. And this is our lateral palmar septum. Lateral palmar septum. And this is our medial palmar septum. Please complete the diagram. Draw palmar aponeurosis, medial palmar septum, lateral palmar septum, and intermediate palmar septum. So now we got one space here on the lateral side and the medial side. Now can you see the space here? Now this space is our mid palmar space, and similarly we got one space here. Now this space is called our, yes, very good, thenar space. So we have two space, thenar space and the mid palmar space. Now we're going to start the discussion about the boundaries of our mid palmar space. Now first, initially we have the, yes, our superficial palmar arch. And below that, we have the FDS and FDP tendon. So FDS and FDP tendon to middle finger, the ring finger and little finger. So this is FDS tendon to middle finger, ring finger and the little finger. And we have a synovial sheath for these tendons. Now these synovial sheath are called as, yes, very good, our ulnar bursa. That is the ulnar bursa, and this is FDS tendon, and below that, that is the FDP tendon. Now FDP tendon, I think you know that, will give origin to one group of muscle. What is that? The lumbricals. Now the lumbrical muscle will take origin here. Now the lumbrical muscles, yes, will take origin. So 3 lumbricals, second lumbrical, third lumbrical and the fourth lumbrical. So now yes, this space is our mid-palmar space. Now can we write the boundary here? Now what is the boundary for mid-palmar space? It's very simple. First say the boundary and then write. What is the boundary for mid-palmar space? Yes, tell me the boundary. Medially we have one septum. What septum? Medial palmar septum. Medial palmar septum. Very good. Laterally? Very good. Intermediate palmar septum. Laterally, intermediate palmar septum. Very good. Anteriorly, what we have? Palmar aponeurosis, superficial palmar arch, FDS tendon, FDP tendon to 3 fingers, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, and we have a synovial sheath, that is our ulnar bursa, and the FDP tendon also gives origin to lumbrical muscle. Very good. All these are anterior. So anteriorly, we have palmar aponeurosis, superficial palmar arch, the FDS tendon and FDP tendon to middle finger, very good, ring finger and the little finger. And we also see the lumbricals, 2, 3, 4 lumbricals. Now posteriorly, what we have, sir? Now posteriorly, we have the metacarpal bone and the interosseous muscle. Posteriorly, metacarpal bone and the fascia over the interosseous muscle. Okay? Right. Now, see the thenar space. Now, here, this is our thenar space. Now, from the third metacarpal bone, one muscle will take origin. What muscle, sir? That is our adductor pollicis muscle. Now, the muscle you see here, that is our adductor pollicis muscle. This is our adductor pollicis muscle, which is taking origin from the third metacarpal bone. This is the adductor pollicis muscle. That is our adductor pollicis muscle. Now, in the front side, yes, we have the FDS tendon and FDP tendon to the index finger. And the FDS and FDP tendon, they are covered by our ulnar bursa, and we also have flexor pollicis longus that is covered by our radial bursa. That is our flexor pollicis longus, radial bursa is covering. That is FDS tendon and FDP tendon, and we have a synovial sheath, that is our ulnar bursa. Now, shall we write the boundary for thenar space? Now, what is the boundary for thenar space? Please tell me the boundary and then write. Thenar space boundaries, yes. Now, medially we have intermediate palmar septum. Very good. Please don't write. Tell me the answer and then write. Now, laterally we have lateral palmar septum. Very good. Lateral palmar septum. Posteriorly we have one muscle. Which muscle? This muscle. What is that? Adductor pollicis muscle. So, adductor pollicis muscle. Anteriorly, what we have? Anteriorly, we have the FDS tendon and FDP tendon to the index finger. And we also see the first lumbricals. The FDS and FDP tendon, they are covered by synovial sheath. We know that is our ulnar bursa. And we also see the flexor pollicis longus, and that is covered by the radial bursa. These are the boundaries of our thenar space and mid-palmar space. Very simple. Draw the diagram and then complete the relation. So now see here. Now we're going to see the diagram. So now mid-palmar space and the thenar space. Now distally, the communications, that is what we're going to see now. Now distally, the thenar space is communicating with the first web space through the first lumbrical canal. Now this is the first web space. So thenar space communicating with the first web space through first lumbrical canal. So please write thenar space distally communicate with first web space through first lumbrical canal. Okay, right. Now the mid-palmar space, which is communicating with second space, third space and the fourth space. Now this is second web space, third web space and the fourth web space. So our mid-palmar space distally communicate with second, third, fourth web space through the second, third, fourth lumbrical canals. Very simple. Okay, so thenar space communicating with first web space and the mid-palmar space communicating with second, third, fourth web space. Okay, now one important point. Now this is the index finger. Now the tendon to index finger is present in which space? Thenar space or mid-palmar space? It is present in the, very good, thenar space. So now any infection from the index finger via the first lumbrical canal, which in turn comes to which space? Thenar space. Is that clear? So please write one last point about these two spaces. Note, now the infection from the index finger, will reach the thenar space, through first lumbrical canal. Why I am writing the thenar space? Because the index finger tendon, the FDS tendon and the FDP tendon to the index finger is present in the thenar space only. So any infection in the index finger, the infection will come to the thenar space to the first lumbrical canal. Old NEET question, old DNB question, chances are there to ask in your coming INA-CET, NEET and the FMG exam. Very, 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 very important point. Okay, it is the takeaway message from this topic. Infection from the index finger that will reach the thenar space. Please don't forget this. That's all about the mid-palmar space and the thenar space. Okay, right. Now next we're going to discuss another small space that is called pulp space. Now what is the boundary for pulp space? Now superficially we have skin and the superficial fascia. Now deep relation for this space is our bone. That bone is our distal phalanx. Okay, now what you are seeing in this space? Now in this space we are seeing the numerous fibrous septum from the skin to periosteum, which is dividing this space into so many loculi. So the fibrous septum from the skin to the periosteum of distal phalanx divide this space into many loculi. This is very important. Okay, so the fibrous septum dividing this space into so many small space, so many loculi here. Now what is present in this space? What is passing through this space? We see one artery. What is artery here? There is artery to the shaft of the distal phalanx or the artery to diaphysis. The artery to diaphysis or artery to the shaft of the distal phalanx, which runs through the pulp space. Okay, right. Now what about the base of the distal phalanx or epiphysis of the distal phalanx? The epiphysis of distal phalanx receive the blood vessel proximal to the pulp space. See the artery here? This artery is arising proximal to the pulp space. This is the point you have to know in this. So please write the base or the epiphysis of distal phalanx. Base will receive the blood supply proximal to the pulp space. Okay, right. Now, these are the points you have to know about the pulp space. And the pulp space infection is called as Whitlow. I hope you know that. Right. So now that's all about the spaces in the hand. So spaces in the hand, yes, we discussed about the mid-palmar space, thenar space, and we also discussed the pulp space.